What is up, everybody? We are back with another Four Thoughts PGA podcast for DFS Army. This week, we've got the Wells Fargo Championship. Can another favorite get it done this week? Listen up, find out. What up, everybody? It's your boy, DFS Up North, aka Josh Thomas here. We're back in action. We are healthy. We are back. My family, we've done the COVID thing the last week. That's why there was no video last week. But prayers up. Everybody's been awesome. Healthy. We're ready to go. Back to school tomorrow. And back to another week of golf. Last week we had the Mexico Open, presented by Vedanta or however the heck you say it. And here's the deal. I was pleasantly surprised with the fact that we got Shot Tracker in Mexico. The PGA Tour brought the Shot Tracker to Mexico. It's the first time they brought it outside of the continental United States in ever history. So it was a fun week. John Rahm got it done, made it a little interesting on 18. Hurt us. We talked a little bit about last week. Hey, we're going to make a leverage play here and go underneath on Rahm on the ownership. Still had enough, had chances to get it done for myself, but wasn't quite there. We get to ask ourselves that question again this week. What are we gonna do with Rory? Another heavy favorite, not as heavy of a favorite as Rahm, but another heavy favorite. Now, this was at Quail Hollow. I'd be all over him, but here at TPC Potomac at Avenel Farms, let's find out. So we're at the Wells Fargo Championship this week. Typically, this is played at TPC, at Quail Hollow Golf Club in North Carolina. Webb Simpson lives there. We've seen guys like Max Homa win. We've seen Rory McIlroy win here. It's a big boy course, and because it's a big boy course, it gets in the rotation on some events. We've seen the PGA Championship here. This fall, we're going to get the President's Cup. So with the President's Cup being played there in the fall, they had to find an alternate site. And it seems like anytime we need an alternate site on the East Coast here, we're headed to TPC Potomac at Avenel Farms, which is a really, really, it's an interesting course. We're going to get to it here in a second. Used to host events for a lot of years, but come win with us at DFS Army. Code Up North, that gets you 10% off for life. Last week, not as good as we could have been, but the weeks prior, we've been absolutely crushing. And we're going to get back on track this week. Our NHL guys are crushing it. It's the playoffs right now. They were the number one ranked site for daily fantasy by Daily Overlay. So really, really big shout out to the NHL guys. Again, use that code Up North, gets you 10% off. You get access to all our tools. I'm going to show you some of those here in a little bit. And you get to come chop it up with me in the Discord. So again, shout out to our guys who have been crushing it. But let's talk about TPC Potomac at Avenel Farms. So this is the host of the old Kemper Open. The Booz Allen Classic, is that what it was? Back in the 2000s. But since then, we've really only seen this course on tour twice. When the Quicken Loans National played here in 2017 and 2018, before that event was disbanded, they gave that event to Detroit, trying to get a little bit something back to the state of Detroit, Michigan. So it's we haven't seen it since 2018. If you remember back to 2018, Francesco Molinari, that was the start of him just playing some outrageous golf. Shot minus 21 here and won by 8 the year before, in a really, really not a poor field, but not a great field. Kyle Stanley got it done with a Sunday charge while the leaders fell back. David Lingworth and Daniel Summerhays. This is ages ago, but that's back OG. That's 2017. I was maybe a year into creating DFS content. I believe that I was already at DFS Army then. But yeah, it brings me back to the OG days. I can't remember. It's possible that we had guys priced below 6,000 in that year, but I don't remember. If you guys are new to DFS golf, we use right now, that on DraftKings, the pricing is from about 12,000 to 6,000 is the dead min. We used to go below 6,000 on a regular basis. So you could make some interesting decisions with your lineups, but it's an interesting course. The players hated it in the 80s. They hated it. Greg Norman said that you should blow the 13th hole up with dynamite. Guys avoided this place like the plague unless they had to come here because of sponsors exemptions. But when they switched to a TPC, to a Players Championship course or the Players Club course, they basically went through and redid the whole course. And it's actually a really, really nice course now. It's a good test of golf. And it's a course that I think we should see more of. I wish that we'd get rid of some of I don't know, some of the gimmicky stuff that we play every year. I'm not going to call out courses, but I like this course. I think it's a good setup. And you're gonna see this week that it's kind of a fun little course to play. So par 70, 71, 60, 12.5 fast, little greens. Little greens 4,265. That is second smallest, I believe, on tour behind the Heritage at Harbortown, which the guys just played a couple weeks ago. 80 sand bunkers, 7 water hazards, waters in play is 10. It's not like super in play, but water's definitely in play. We're back to bent grass this week. And then if you look at the rough here, you can see tall fescue, Kentucky bluegrass, 3 inches. The rough here is dangerous. It is thick. All right. And not only is the rough at this course thick, we have tree lined fairways, and not just like you're going to be able to hit out of the oaks here. Like, we are thick, right? You hit into the shit here, you are in trouble. You bring double bogey into play. Absolutely. So some comp courses, TPC River Highlands, just up the road where we play the Travelers, Sedgefield, East Lake, similar, right? I think they're similar. Data Golf has those as our best comp courses. I think Harbortown's a good comp course here too. But Harbortown, you can get away with being a little wild off the tee. Here, accuracy will be massively important. We look back at 2018, kind of get an idea. Obviously, Molinari went bonkers, but he only missed 7 greens. All right. And he only missed 7 greens because he hit 80% of fairways, right? So he was smashing it all week. Kyle Stanley, same thing. Tons of fairways, tons of greens, good approach game. You don't necessarily have to putt crazy well here. Obviously, it helps. But you want to be positive. But with these small greens, you're gonna get opportunities. So if you hit it on the green, you're gonna get a good look at birdie. The issue is who's gonna make them this week, right? And that's kind of what we always got to figure out here. So TPC Potomac, again, 0.5 penalty for missing the fairway. Just an inch off the fairway. Half stroke penalty is what it basically boils down to, right? So what that tells me is that the rough's long, the rough's thick. You can see in the background of the picture here, Gary Woodland. You can see some of that taller fescue. That's the second cut. So if you get a little bit offline, you are in major trouble. Average cut line in those 2 years was +3, 23.1% shots from 175 to 200 yards. Typically, I don't really look at proximity stats, but it's just so far over the average of PGA Tour events. And when you look at prior winners, guys who are really good in that sort of 175 to 200 yard range really shine here. So again, I talked about tight tree line fairways. You got to hit them, but here's the deal. Everybody worries about accuracy this week. They look at the short hitters, and I get that, but bombers can club down here. A guy like Tony Finau, I think he's better every week at a course that forces him or takes the driver out of his hand. So small greens got to get up and down. So having a good short game is key here, and weather's going to play a big factor in the scoring. It did in 2017, 2018. They had prime conditions. That's why you saw Molinari shoot 21. I mean, again, next closest was -14, but there was multiple guys under -10. So weather's going to play a role here. Again, former winners here. We got Molinari, -21. Only missed 7 greens all week. Stanley got the top of the field, fell apart. Daniel Somerset shot +4. David Lingmerth, who I like this week, who Monday qualified, he shot +4 as well. They were at -7, -6. The leaders, they fell apart. There's Lingmerth again, won a KFT event. Here, Michael Putnam on a KFT event. So we see -7, -7, -8. Big course between these two events. Big course change here. But again, this is kind of the outlier. I think we probably see closer to -7, -8 this week. And the reason being is right here. Look at the weather on Friday, Saturday. We actually saw this event back when it was an actual PGA Tour event. I believe it was the Booz Allen Classic back in 2007. It finished on a Tuesday. We don't see very many Tuesday finishes anymore. I believe that's written in the rules now. But yeah, we saw a Tuesday finish here back in 2000 I want to say 6. But we look at the weather here. 999 for the wind speed, but the gusts of 22. Rain. But rain they might be able to play through. Okay. Calm. Sunday, when the leaders are hitting the back 9, right? Lots of wind. Thursday, Friday don't look too bad. So we should see some traditional scoring here. But the weather's going to play a role. How do we bake that into our lineups? You don't. Let other people worry about that stuff. That's something that I think too many people who are new to DFS golf or play other sports think that stuff like that is a controllable factor that we can build into our lineups. And the reality is that it's not. All right. We can only worry about so many things, and we can only account for so many things. When we try to account for too much, that's when your model, whatever you're building, your lineups, like that's when it goes to shit and haywire, right? Is when we try to account for too much. We can't. I mean, we have a great weather crew here at DFS Army, across the DFS industry, great guys, but just weatherman in general, it's a tough job. And for them to be able to predict that far out, for it's Tuesday night, I'm filming this, for what it's going to look like on Saturday, we got to get our guys to Saturday first, right? So weekend weather, I try not to think too much about it. We can try to predict, sometimes there's a wave advantage, but like last week, didn't really look like there was going to be a wave advantage. And then there was a big one on Thursday, and then Friday it evened out, right? Friday, there was no wave advantage. The afternoon played about the same as the morning, and the predictions looked exactly the same. So again, everybody screams at the top of the refs like, "Oh, I told you on Thursday." Well, who's talking on Friday when everything kind of looked the same, right? So it's a tough thing to quantify, and then to build into our model. So it's not something that I pay a ton of attention to, other than, hey, the weather's going to be shitty, scoring's not going to be that great. So that when I'm looking at lineups and I'm following on Shot Tracker, I'm not losing my mind, right? That, oh my gosh, my guys are sucking, right? All right, let's look at my cheat sheet for the week, and then I'm going to show you something that we can do in the DS to build lineups. If I can get this thing back up here. All right, here we go. Now we're cooking with gas. All right, window. All right, now we're rolling. Don't want that yet. Let's look at my cheat sheet. We're gonna zoom out here about 50%. We can zoom in just a little. We'll go to 75. All right, so my core this week is going to be Matty Fitz. All right. You guys know, if you've been around DFS Army long enough, that I love Fitzy. I think this is a great course fit. We rely on hitting greens, hitting fairways, being able to score, get up and down, short game. Like the guy does all of that and more. I'm all in on Fitzy this week. I've got 30 to 40% exposure, minimum max. My guess is that's going to end up likely 50 to 60. All right, I'm actually just going to put that in there right now. Big Leash really played well on both his trips here. We've seen him finish T5, T13, playing excellent golf this year. I love sort of what a lineup looks like when you can get Fitz, Leash, skip over a bunch down to that low 7K, because the 7K range is loaded this week. So Leash, core play for me this week. Cam Young, big misprice here. Big misprice here. He should be 9K, right? Like I would be fine if you flipped Keegs at 9,600 and Cam Young at 8,000. I'd pay 9,600 for Cam Young here. So much upside. Finished T3 at the Heritage, which I think is, like I said, a similar type of course. He can play in a birdie fest. He can play in a tough, setup. Love Cam Young. And then the last guy in my core this week is David Lipski, 7,500. So cheap, super cheap on Fanduel. I know our projections don't love him. When we get into the domination station, I'll show you how I'm going to up his projection. But like right back to the well here, the guy played excellent last week. He's just on this string of really good play at 7,500. Makes a lot of sense in my lineups. I started building lineups. I initially had a guy like Aaron Ryan here at 78, 79. And I needed that extra 300 in my lineups. So Lipski, core play for me this week. Just crushed it approach in Mexico. Playing solid golf. Love him this week. If you're playing cash, Connors, Henley, all those guys are great. So as we look here, talking about Rory, right? I talked about him in the intro. Here's the deal. He's not as big of a favorite as Rahm last week. If we look at the Wells Fargo Champion research station, he is 8 to 1 to win, right? Over the next highest price guy, 21, or Connors is at 18. He's drifted down a little bit. Opened at 20. But Rory is going to be a heavy favorite this week. He ain't 2 to 1 like Rahm last week, but he's in good shape. All right. So here's the deal. I'm waiting on ownership. I'm going to have some Rory for sure. Right now, I got like 10 to 15%. That's likely to be underweight, right? But I think that's probably the play. He's just a little more volatile. We've seen Ram dominate, or like John Rahm dominate. And Rory in events like this, not quite. Like you look at that second at the Masters and you're like, oh shit, he was playing great, right? Well, he played pretty poor all week and then came out on Sunday and was unconscious, right? And got himself into second place while everybody else at the top of the field fell back. So you can't read too much into that. I think he's a good course fit. I think he'll be fine. He's got an elite short game. That's something that's really improved over the last couple of years for him. He'll be in the mix. Is he going to pay off that 11.5? He's got to win, right? He's got to win. That's what it comes down to. Tony Finau, I love this week. I love an event. Like I always used to play Tony at Colonial. When we play at Colonial, Finau's in because he can't hit driver here, right? He's just so much better in events like that. He was so good last week, tee to green. If he wouldn't have lost 5 strokes putting in the first 2 rounds, he would have crushed, right? So I'm on a bounce back for Finau here. I'm only playing Connors in cash, or I'm going to be way underweight in GPP. Answer: I don't love Hatton. I don't love Bradley. As we kind of go down here, I think Reed's interesting. I think here's the guy that I'm going to play this week that probably nobody else is. His ownership's going to be super low. You can get a lot of leverage on him, but it's Sergio. Just racking up top 20 finishes. I think this is a good course for him. I think that at 8,700, he's cheap. Nobody's going to play him. Love him this week. What are you going to do with Paul Casey? I don't have Paul Casey on my list. Notice that. First event we're seeing him since withdrawing after hitting a tee shot at the Masters and ruining a bunch of lineups. But yeah, so I'm not. That's a great leverage GPP play. If you want to play Paul Casey, like you're going to get a ton of leverage on the field. Are you willing to take the risk that he withdraws again? What's going on with his neck? We haven't heard anything. Not a risk that I'm personally going to take this week. I think Max Homa makes a lot of sense here. I wish the course was a little bit bigger and wider for him. Kuchar's been playing just some outstanding golf, 2nd and 3rd in his last 2 tourneys. I think he's probably going to get a little popular here. I told you I love Rye. The guy down here in the 7Ks, though, that I love the most is Sepp Straka. Close to a core play for me this week. He's just playing so well. Rates out great for me. I'm going to be all over Sepp Straka. I had sticker shock at Brandon Wu. Had to add him late because it's just, I'm like, 7,500. No, I'm not playing Brandon Wu this week. And then I dive into it. I'm going, fucking this guy's playing great, right? Top 25, top 25, top 30. Like just outstanding golf, hitting his irons well, putting well, like doing everything really good. So course history play, Ricky Fowler, man, be nice to see him make a cut. But he was really good here in 2017, 2018. Danny McCarthy makes a ton of cuts. I love Grayson Siggett at 7K. He's just been so consistent this weekend. Another good course fit. Below 6K, it gets pretty sketchy. But the guy that I'm really going to go back to here is Chad Ramey. It's a massive price overcorrection. He was 8K last week in a much, I don't want to say much better field. I'm interested to see. I should go look at the strength field. Close fields. Now he misses the cut. Didn't play well. Really just didn't putt well on the pass for him. But now he's down to 6,800. So I feel like that's a big overcorrection on Chad Ramey. Guy that I'm going to be heavy on here. So like I said, I'm going to go to the domination station in a second here. If you are new to DFS Army, this is our DFS Army research station. This is the one that's Fanduel oriented. You can see your showdown scoring, strokes gained, field rank trackers, stat cruncher. You can build a stat model in here, do all this stuff. Tournament comparison. You can see what this, what course looks like, what it is towards the average for these. Not sure if we have TPC Potomac. Maybe I just saw it. Yep, here we go. Quicken Loans, Bentgrass. You can kind of scroll over and say, okay, which courses is it like? Which courses is it not like? Bogeys per round, 3.16, right? So that bogey-free round is not going to happen that often. So if you're playing on like a Thrive Fantasy, you're looking at something that says like 2.5 bogeys in the first round before they can correct. You might want to jump on the overs on that because we're averaging 3.16 bogeys per round here, which is kind of crazy on a par 70. That tells you that this course plays fairly tough. All right, so research station. Let's go to the Wells Fargo Championship. Okay, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So we're going to only build 20 lineups today. So we're going to build like a 20 max lineup today. And something that I've done videos on here before is Core Cascade. And this is not necessarily a core cascade, but it's using our tools to get as many of my core plays in lineups as possible. I always get some randomization. I'll go 20 this week. I always get some randomization in there. Player combination rules. So I want to stack between 2 and 3. Okay, you could do 2 and 4 if you wanted all 4 of your core in there. That's fine. But let's just go 2 and 3 of my core this week. All right. So who's in my core? Big Leash, Fitzy, Cam Young, and Lipski. Right. Okay. I'm actually gonna add a 5th here. Let's go Sepp Straka because I'm super high on Straka this week. Where is he at? I can just type it in here. And we'll open that up to 2 to 4 then. All right. So I'm going to rotate around this 5-man core in all of my lineups. You could put it in just 20 lineups. You're going to build 150. You want to do it in there. Boom, done. You can do multiple cores, right? If you wanted to do, I want to do this in, 20 lineups, in a minimum 20 lineups. I can add that rule, and then I can put a different core in and say I want these guys 2 of 4 in another 20, which is just, it's so nice. Like we can optimize this stuff. Okay. So 2 and 4, Fitz, Leash, Young, Lipski, and Straka. Let's go through and adjust some of our things here. Our exposure max 60. All right, that's something that you want to put in, especially if you're going to do something like this. I said I like Sergio this week. Let's give him a small bump. We can give Cam Young a bump. We can give Cooch Daddy a bump. Oh yeah, we need to give Rye a bump. He's too low, 71. Yep, we love Aaron Rye this week. Give Strox a bump. Really like CT Pan. Really like Brandon Wu. Really like David Lipski. Scroll down the list here. Hostler is interesting. This low 7K range, bunch of studs. Like Sig, shouldn't have to give him a big bump, but I will. Stewart, I think, makes sense. So I said I really like Ramey. I'm going to say love on him. No, I need him to be more. I'm going to adore Chad Ramey. All right, let's see what that gives us here. And I can kind of show you how this works. Go to the bottom here. All right, we use 38 players and 20 lineups, and look at that. 60% Fitz, 60% Straka, Young, Kuchar, 45. A lot of Killer Keith. Like it. So, okay, am I getting between 2 and 3 in all of my lineups? Let's see. All right, so we got Cam Young, Sepp Straka, boom, done, in it. Sepp Straka, Cam Young, Fitzy, Sepp Straka. All right, we're only getting a lot of 2s here. Straka, yeah, okay, so let's do this. So I noticed that I'm only getting a lot of 2s here, and I want to just more of my core. So between 3 and 4. Add that rule. Oh, it's 20 lineups, but that's all the lineups that I have. Let's hit optimize and see what happens. Boom, boom, boom. Even faster than before. All right, first lineup. We got Fitzy, Straka. Oh, I'm not getting 3 and 4. I'm going to have to adjust. Fitzy, Young, Straka. There we go. Young, Straka. Fitzy, Young, Straka. Young, Straka, Lipski. There we go. Straka, Fitzy, and Aaron Rye, which I'll tell you what, I know it's not doing exactly what I wanted to do here, but it is looking pretty good. So when you look at my core, right? All these guys should be at the top. Yep. Straka, Young, Rye, Fitzpatrick, Lipski, and I'm not getting enough Leishman. So what if I wanted to do this? I would just put a minimum in on Leishman, and let's see what happens. Do I have... Oh, the other thing, I'm not getting all of those guys that I want in there, so I can uncheck this. Let's just do that real quick. See, that's the problem. Sometimes it'll give you that. So you got to massage the DS a little bit. All right, so Fitz, Straka, Sig, not bad. I'm getting Cameron Young. Yeah, look at like my core right here. 30, 30, 40, 40, 40. Like we're rolling here. So if you want to like just really hammer a core of players, that's what you got to do. And then you get all these one-offs. That's fine. Andrew Novak. Ooh, I forgot to put him in my lineup this week or in my cheat sheet. I got to add Novak. He looked great last week. Connors, Young, Rye, Straka, Lipski. Love that lineup. I would actually. And then if like let's say you want to move somebody in, right? Like I get all the way up to Tony Finau here, but let's just get another Fitz. Boom, done. I don't love Sergio. I can go all the way up to. I don't really want to go up to anybody there, but that one-off tool is super handy. So, all right, that's what we got, right? Wells Fargo this week. I hope this helped. If you're, trying to build lineups in the DS, looking to, try to get some of your own, that main core in there and have some more control over your lineups. I will be in the Discord pretty much all day tomorrow, helping you guys out. I appreciate you guys sticking with me, even though we didn't have a video last week. My whole family's feeling good. I appreciate the support and Discord from everybody. If you don't know where to find me, you can find me at DFS Up North on Twitter. You can find me in the DFS Army Discord. All you got to do is type in at DFS Up North or go to hashtag PGA Talk. You can find me there. Use that code up north for 10% off VIP membership to DFS Army, and we will catch you guys on the flip side. Peace, everybody.